So let's, if it's okay with you guys, if we can go back in just as the emissary of Lathandar has vanished and you're stood around the fireplace. Timer.
Storm Sapphires.
Called you the Storm Sapphire. Storm Sapphires, Story Spinner, the Dead One, and Wolf Brother.
What was I then? I can't remember.
You were one of the two Storm Sapphires. So yeah.
Yeah. So that was weird.
Dead One, huh?
I know, you lot get such great names. I get the Dead One. Harsh. Is it because I's black?
Oh my lord, you went there.
She really said that.
You really went there.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, rock it. Let's rock it. Okay.
Yeah, I think you might need to. You might need to.
I'm keeping that shit in.
That might be not entirely appropriate. But
Okay.
I could go worse than that. Hang on a second.
Okay. Before we get worse than that, it seems that you're all a little taken for words, perhaps. Cat got your tongue. You all stand there. Grundak will mutter something about the spirits before kind of settling down, grunting about first watch. Grundak will nod.
I don't know.
Isn't it obvious?
No.
Have you've never experienced shaman and their powers? Shamans summon spirits to the world. That was a spirit. A being from beyond. Well, maybe the book. Maybe there's something magical about the book. And maybe there's something magical about these symbols. He says with a knowing nod.
That would seem logical.
Of course, it's logical. I just said that. It's obvious.
It's like Andy's in the room.
Huh?
Sorry, Mike, you're going to have to just update me a second on what just went down. I had a little person wanting drinks and things.
We talk
Just a bit of banter.
the appearance of the spirit. The appearance of the spirit that came to us at the end of the last session.
Okay, do I know anything, Phil? Have I seen anything like that before, or?
So not really. From your perspective, it's actually probably more likely to be something that the cleric would understand. Spiritual beings are not the kind of.
Not mine.
You know, you're talented when it comes to magical lore and the kind of mechanics of magic. What we're dealing with here is religion and faith and the power derived from, it would seem, godlike or deities, which is kind of a different school of magic than you're familiar with. But from the description and from your observations, it was certainly some kind of celestial servant.
Well, I'll relay that aspect. So, but in truth, it's not really my area of expertise. You need someone more clerical.
Everybody will look towards Amarakis, be like, nod.
Well, that's what you religious types think. So.
Well, I'm blessed, so Maybe it's high time you caught up with me.
We have received divine intention before.
And why now?
Maybe is it something to do with the phases of the moon or something like that? Phases of the sun? Is there phases of the sun? Sort of thinks out loud. I know what I mean.
It shows that we're on the right path.
You lot been praying for support or help or, you know, what?
Every day.
Not me.
Nope.
Not me. Don't really need it. More than capable. Barely answered.
As am I.
We don't know why, but it's welcomed.
Yeah. It gave us something useful. That's all that we need to know, right?
I agree.
Good. Could really? I thought you were. I thought you dragons and the human couldn't see at night.
And now,
You know, stumble around in the dark. Ooh, where am I going?
I can also see in the dark.
Oh, maybe you've been blessed by the god of dawn. There you go. Has anybody got anything to eat?
Mm. So straight to, I think.
Yes.
Actually,
Yes.
this postern gate, yeah. That's what
Yeah.
Radar said. If you can see in the dark, why don't we travel by night? Wouldn't that give us an advantage, get us closer?
I thought the orcs and the hobgoblins can see in the dark. I'm pretty sure theirs will be better than ours.
Won't be better than mine.
Guess we'd get our heads down here then.
We do need rest after the fight.
Here, dead girl, why don't you take first watch?
Dead one, please. Dead one.
Dead one.
Important distinction.
Why don't you we'll get our heads down and you can do something useful for a change.
Thanks for that.
He'll beam. Pleasure. Big stretch. Lies down.
Okay, I'll take first watch.
Who are you taking second watch?
I don't know. I do need a good night's sleep if I'm to cast anything tomorrow.
I'll take it. I was unharmed in the fight. So I'm okay.
I'll take
Okay.
third.
And I'll take the last watch.
Okay. I'm up.
Right, let's get some sleep. And with that, I'll start to settle down around the glowing embers of the fire. It seems quite quiet out here. Surprisingly quiet. It wasn't terribly quiet the other day when you kind of scouted the edge of the forest. It was
And ran away from the dragon.
anything but. No, I mean when you were travelling. So when you were travelling, there was kind of constant noise from within the forest. But
And now it's silent. That's creepy.
no, it's quiet, sort of subdued. Brorna, your watch passes without incident. You do anything?
I'll read probably. Although I'm supposed to be watching, so I won't be too intently reading.
Get stuck into a
Stuck into a good book. Oh shit! You've all been attacked. Bugger.
Yes.
Just one more chapter.
Yes, just
Yeah.
one more
Yeah.
second.
Stop attacking.
And I'll wake Shepherd.
Okay, no worries. Shepherd, you get roughly awoken.
Yeah. You're
It's
up,
a
Shepherd.
strange dark figure.
Take my watch.
Okay. Your watch passes without incident. Again, you probably do notice that kind of slightly quieter, natural sound to the edge of the forest.
Yep.
And as you wake him, he'll kind of mutter something about it being quiet, but you'll slip off into sleep soon enough. And actually, that's probably where we get to morning. Rather uneventful. You wake up. There's a kind of sort of gentle patter of rain. Sort of slightly muggy skies, but a little bit chilly. So a rather kind of overcast morning, as yours. Yeah. But you guys jump up and are you heading directly to the location of Cragmaw from here?
Yeah.
Okay. No problem.
How do we know how close to the castle we are?
Didn't you say we're a couple of days?
Yeah, by the description you've had, Grundak thinks you're probably 4 or 5 hours away from the castle.
Oh, that's not far.
So you've actually managed to travel kind of 2 days worth of journey in one day. Just under 1 day. So weirdly, you don't feel that fleet-footed today. It would appear the druid's blessing has worn off. But like I say, you can head in, and actually you'll need to go through Neverwinter Wood to get to the location you're aiming for. Hey there, Joe. We can hear you. Can you hear us?
You can't see any movement.
Yeah, she's frozen.
Can you hear us? There you go. You're back. Hello. Hello, Joe. I guess we've lost her.
Oh! Did she move for a second?
She did move for a second.
I can't tell if she's looking really intent. All right, but I'll say to we should agree our strategy before we move. There is a distinct possibility that we will encounter scouting parties. We should proceed with caution from here.
Indeed. Grundak says, I'll lead. If I go up on ahead, I'm pretty sure I know the route.
I think we need a more well-formed strategy than that. Let's discuss it.
I do agree, though. Grundak should go at the front.
Of course.
We should be in a skirmisher formation, though, not in single file.
I'm the only skilled tracker amongst you.
Yeah, I'm no tracker.
I know. I'm the only skilled tracker here. I should go at the front. You can walk behind me at a good distance.
Be surprised.
Brorna shouldn't go at the back.
No, she shouldn't. Absolutely don't want a dark elf at the back. In the middle, where we can keep our eye on her. He says,
I'll go at the back.
After all this time, and still,
I'm not the one that had a dagger lodged in my chest that, when pulled free, there was no blood. He makes some kind of holy symbol of the wolf as he turns back. We should get going. The plan is forged. I should go at the front.
just be glad I'm on your side.
I'll go second then.
I'll go in the middle.
start walking towards the tree line with his axe. Clearly, that's the best plan, best laid plans, and all that good stuff.
Yep.
Well, and don't we need to discuss when we actually get to the castle what we're going to do? Oh,
He'll stop
can't
the
just-
tree line.
Yep. Yep. Far better than howling and swinging your axe at it.
Yeah, I agree.
I can do. I can deal with that kind of stuff.
As can I. He says with
Yeah,
a
but
nod.
mine's quiet. It doesn't involve splintering the door into shards.
He looks for a second at the axe, and then goes, perhaps.
Pull out
So
my little
we-
roll of thief tools.
Yeah.
We progress so far, then Shepherd, you go ahead, track the door down.
We should be fine.
Stay a ways off first. I don't know what kind of patrols are around the perimeter, if he's got any, or what eyes are there. Need to go and have a good
Yeah, do we
mooch
need to spend
around
some time?
before even attempting to move into the building.
Well, let's get closer so that we can at least. I think this is a good idea. We could pause again when we're closer to the castle once we have sight of it to judge the lay of the land. Did Radoth not say the postern gate was to the south? Yeah. I would have thought it's the west.
Need to put a bit of a curve on then.
I'll see what I can do. And with that, he'll kind of lope off at a sort of slow jog.
I'll follow him.
Okay. You travel probably for about an hour before you see Grundak take a knee further up and kind of raises a hand to stop you.
Yep. Stop.
He'll turn back. He says nothing but makes the gesture. He comes back quietly and leans in a sort of surprisingly kind of competent tracker mindset, leans in quietly to each one of you. He says at a whisper, "Patrol up ahead. Hobgoblins. 20. And he'll go down the line in skirmisher fashion, giving you the nod. And he'll move back along, and he'll kind of motion as though he's going to take you around them. I'll make him another stealth roll. Can everyone give me a stealth check, please?
Stealth.
Those of you wearing heavy armor, you
Yeah.
are at disadvantage.
Sorry. Disadvantage. I've just rolled, Phil, but I need to roll again because I'm not at
Oh no!
disadvantage. Disadvantage.
Oh, some solid rolls here.
Yeah, D20 is doing it to me again. My stealth is actually +8. I rolled it. My total is 11.
Wow. Okay.
It's one of the
14.
two skills that I added proficiency to as I went on.
14.
14. Okay. Right. As you head down the trail following Grundak, you'll see off to the left, through the lines of trees, actually quite a disciplined unit of hobgoblins in ranks, pausing after what must be part of their patrol. Grundak will spend a point of inspiration to give you a re-roll, Brorna.
Thank
So
you.
can you re-roll, please?
I can. Thank goodness. Make it good. Is it happening?
Is anything happening? Okay, it's better. You just keep rolling.
I didn't think it was happening, so
Okay, no worries. Yeah, so as you move down the trail, you're actually moving past Grundak. Brorna, when it comes to you, you go to step on what must have been a branch, and literally as your foot is just about to step down on the branch, which would have cracked noisily beneath your foot, Grundak kind of holds onto you for a second, kind of with your foot paused just above the branch. Then kind of helps you move around it, waits for you all to clear the position. Then you'll see him kind of lope past you quietly to the front as he resumes the march. Interestingly enough, though, you've crossed a trail here that these hobgoblins must be using as part of their patrol route, and it must travel northwest up towards the place you were just at, Thundertree, and back down towards the castle. So perhaps there are overlapping patrol routes that move around here. But those 20 hobgoblins looked pretty ordered and actually quite disciplined. You know, they're all carrying a kind of proper, consistent set of arms and armour. So it looked like a proper unit, not kind of just a bunch of stragglers. Right, you continue to head further on down the trail, and it's not that much longer before you start to see a broken structure through the trees. As you kind of get as you kind of come up, you'll notice that Grundak stopped on the trail. He's kind of beckoning you forward to have a look. Where you've come, you've kind of looped round. You must have looped in a curve that's past the southwest towards the south, and you can see actually from the southern approach there's quite a steep hill that moves up. So you can imagine it would be impossible for kind of to approach the castle in a fighting, you know, kind of military unit structure up this sheer but very steep hill. It would be very difficult, especially in armor. But you can see what's left of 7 crumbling towers. So originally this must have been a set of big towers that were all linked. This doesn't look orcish or goblinoid in structure. And in fact, anybody who's got kind of history as a skill, you could probably give me a quick roll just to see whether you're familiar with it.
Yeah, I've got history.
oh,
Got history.
okay.
Fucking hell.
Well done. Jeez.
Yes. So you're definitely.
I know, yeah. Complete karmic flux.
So this, as soon as you see the structure, Shepherd, you're reminded of a story. It's a story that your master once told of a kind of noble aristocratic wizard that was part of a kind of ancient set of peoples that inhabited this area called the Forlorn, the Phalorn, the Forlorn, and they used magic to construct their buildings, but their kind of period of ascendancy disappeared, you know, it's probably 1500 to 2000 years ago, and soon after they disappeared, the magic that supported their structures began to fail, and so this must be one of the lost Forlorn that you've heard about in your stories. So you'd recognize it as soon as you see that it's a set of linked towers. From this vantage point, obviously you can't see the full expression because you're below the height of the castle, but from what you can see, none of the towers still stand above 50 or 60 feet, right? So what was probably very impressive, huge towers that went up into the sky are now
Goblins are
broken
away.
and collapsed. Yeah. So you're here. What are you doing?
Needed a good advantage.
You don't need to make a roll, but all of you can hear the sound of chittering goblins up the hill and away to the west. So you can imagine if there's a main path that heads into the castle. By the sound of it, there must be goblins on guard, and a number of them, if this noise is to be anything to be observed. So is this where Shepherd goes invisible and does some...
Do you tell us about the castle?
Oh no, I won't give you a history lesson. Not right now.
Can we see the pastoral gate?
Magically constructed might be relevant.
But then again, you wouldn't expect it to be easily seen from this vantage point.
True.
If the structure of the towers is anything to judge by, it'll be hidden. It'll be hidden in one of the towers, but it's not visible from this location.
Can we see any vantage points where there are goblin lookouts, or could be goblin lookouts?
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Lots. You can see a set of murder holes at places and slits. You can't really see in through the slits at this distance, but you can definitely see. You can imagine this was a highly defensible location at one time. Okay. So what are we doing? You do.
Shepherd.
Yeah.
Everyone looks expectantly towards Shepherd as he goes and disappears.
Pretty much.
You pull some chest hair off. And go, no.
Jump on my little cloud.
Sorry, monkey magic reference there.
Yes, we got it. Thank you.
Yes, we're all that old too.
Yeah.
Did everyone get the American Gods reference from the post today, or was everybody a bit like, "Oh, what you smoking?"
I haven't seen
Have you
it.
not read the book?
No.
Oh my goodness! Please.
The TV series is going to be very different to the book because the book is a standalone Neil Gaiman madness. This is like a 10-episode fucking season that they're probably going to carry on with. So yeah, I think it will be based upon the book. Gaiman's been involved in it, so
yeah, it's quite cool. Yeah. Well, I have to say, I saw the trailer for Dark Tower today. And I thought that looked fucking cool.
It looks brilliant.
It does.
So what's the problem? The what? I know that. You don't know that. You don't know how many. You don't know how many are in the film. There might be more. You just haven't seen them in the trailer. There might be more. Anyway.
Anyway. Don't get him started.
Put you back in your box.
Don't get him started, otherwise it's like setting me off on 300.
Actually, hey, Medz, factually accurate.
So, is this the point where Shepherd?
When did Shepherd learn to make us invisible, by the way?
Never.
Oh, that sucks. That's a crap power.
Yeah, I was going to say, you have a couple of potions.
Are any of them invisibility potions? Because they would be real useful right
now. Yeah. I thought they all were.
Oh, well.
Well remembered.
Look.
Yep.
Where's our party loot thing?
Yep.
Yes. Do you know how many we've?
Uh,
Do you know how many we've
I'll
got?
tell you what. Yeah, I'll tell you what I haven't done. I haven't worked out what this staff does, have I? This glass staff. No.
It's good for using as a walking stick.
Yeah, it looks proper wizard-like.
It seems very robust.
Yeah, we've got healing potions. I've got it open. Well, I'll take one.
We should give them out to those people who don't have a healing ability themselves.
Yeah.
So they should go to, I think, Grundak.
He'll take one if you hand it to him. Put it in his loincloth.
Yeah. I think the other one should go to Brorna.
I agree.
He's fragile.
I'm sure they were potions of full invisibility for a real long time until you rescue your mate from a creepy castle. Was that it?
And anyone within a 5-foot radius of you is also invisible.
I can assure you that is not the case. So, can I have your actions, please? While you stand around looking at your purses and your shopping bags. What we doing?
I've gone.
Where are you heading, Shepherd?
So is it?
I want to head round to the southern side of the castle to actually have a look at
the
this
southern
posting
side.
gate. Right, in which case then I'm going looking for the posting gate.
Okay.
Nice and slow.
You climb up. It's not. I was going to say it's not a problem climbing up. You do notice as you're climbing up, as you get near the top, there are 2 arrow slits with a fantastic field of view that cover this whole area, and you can definitely, well, you probably hear it before you'd see it, but you can hear the sort of chittering goblinoid chatter that comes from goblins that must be watching this area. As you get up there, you can happily make me a quick wisdom check, perception check, to see whether you can find a posting gate. Yeah.
It's there.
Yeah, you walk up and it's like this incredibly well hidden door. You go, there it is. Interesting enough, it's very well concealed, and it's recessed. So there are kind of bluffs built into the base of these towers that put a shadow, a regular shadow along the line of the tower walls, and this door is actually recessed into one of those shadows. So unless you kind of knew you were looking for a door, you probably wouldn't be able to see it. And one would argue, if you were stood here trying to attack the place, you'd be being peppered with arrows at this point. So the fact that you're invisible means that you're able to walk straight up to the door, and you can actually you can probably see the kind of bow, the sort of gnarled black bow held in a little grubby green hand, as a guy keeps peeking every now and again towards the slit and then stepping back. You do notice the postern gate is a very thick, sturdy oak door with steel bands, one at the top, one at the bottom, and 2 across the middle, and a hefty lock. So there's a big...
Does this look like the kind of big oaken door that would have a bar brace on the back of it?
Possibly. This place, I have to say, this place is pretty smashed up, so it's not a fully intact structure, and one would argue the security of this place isn't fantastic, but you could try picking it, or you could go around and check to the west, or you could curve around the castle to the east and see if you could find another broken section or something.
Yeah, I think it's quite a sturdy door, although they said they pointed us in the direction. That's quite a sturdy door. I'm looking at the sort of the disrepair and the crumbling state of the towers, I think I'd want to do a full perimeter to see if there's another point of ingress that Radoth didn't know about, or that has recently just collapsed or something.
No worries. You can. Are you going to make your way around anti-clockwise? So you're at the southern edge. Are you going to go around east, north, west, and south, or are you going to go the other way? Your call.
No, I'll go I'll go anti-clockwise. I'll go to the east and then north.
Right, you move around to the east. On the eastern side, there is a sheer cliff. Right, so not far away from the ledge you're stood on is a cliff face, which must fall a good 60 or 70 feet of sheer rock. You are able to make your way along the edge because there's a ledge that must clear it all the way around. The wall on this side is actually pretty good. There are clearly areas where it's been patched, so you can tell the difference between the kind of well-made and dressed stone that's placed together and bits that have been repaired by goblins, where they've just kind of
bit of sod
smacked some. What they've done is they've kind of used braced bits of wood that are all in kind of funny proportions and just kind of stuck them in. You even see somewhere they've used mud and clay to form like joints to hold things together. It looks incredibly rickety. They're repairs, but they seem effective.
Ain't no structural engineers.
Far from it.
Right.
The northern face. Yeah, let's make it rookie. The northern face obviously has part of the cliff face obscuring the kind of eastern northeast half, but begins what must be a kind of gently rolling slope that heads down. You can see old fortifications are here. Those have been reinforced in true goblinoid fashion with sharp sticks, which have been driven into the ground to make kind of palisades. They're not well organized. They look a mess. They've kind of been tied together. So they're not fantastic, but they're a rudimentary structure. And again, there's an area here on the northern side where it's one of the entire sections of wall has collapsed. However, it's been completely covered in this kind of quite chaotic goblinoid structure of repairs. Your kind of initial look over it would suggest climbing this could be dangerous. Like I say, it's sort of held together with bits of twine, clay. It's sort of no. It's just a terrible repair job. So you could climb it, but you reckon there's 50-50 odds that actually you could get halfway up and the whole fucking thing could come down.
No, I'm not going to. I'm not going to be mad yet until I've done a full perimeter. So. Okay. I've got an hour of invisibility, so I'm going to use that time to examine the full exterior of the building.
As you move around to the western side, this is the main entrance. So you can see two of the towers here have got a packed dirt road that almost heads out of it, which moves along to a set of trails that head off. So maybe this is where the patrols come out. There's got to be 40 goblins here, maybe slightly more. Most of them are stood in an assemblage outside the gates, and they're all armed. Most of them aren't wearing armor, or the armor they are wearing are kind of scavenged scraps. But there are lots of them, and you can see on both of the main towers above the kind of entryway there are platforms from where the old tower structures have fallen down with archers on. So there's half a dozen archers.
So there's probably fucking murder holes facing the main gate, isn't there?
Yeah.
Like angled in on it, so if you're trying to get in the main gate, they can drop oil and shoot shit at you.
So even though they may be incompetent, and even though they may be pretty easy
loads of them,
there are lots and lots of them here to the west. So this is
1,000 goblins
aspect. I have to say that's about it. As you kind of move past them on the west, you can see the guys just off the trail down to the south.
I'll head back because I'll be getting near the end of my invisibility now. So
Okay.
I presume what's left of it to get back.
Perfect. I presume the rest of you have been kind of waiting patiently
and watching.
Yeah.
Vigilant.
Some of you will see, and no need for rolls, but some of you will definitely see in those kind of slits above the southern edge that there are definitely goblins watching this. Whether they're watching it all the time, hard to say. How effective they are as scouts, hard to say. But there are definitely people looking through these arrow slits south. Okay. Emerging from the shadows is Shepherd.
Right. Report.
Yeah, Commandant. You know, who died and made you king?
Grundak will laugh at that.
What?
Who died and made you chief?
It's not an easy ingress at all. That postern gate is a big ass door, steel banded oak, possibly braced from the back. I'm not can't be too sure without investigating or trying it, but it's got a hell of a lock on it as well. East side of it is pretty much a sheer cliff, so there's no go there. They've patched holes all the way around the building in goblin fashion, which is basically mud, wood, clay, and bits of string. But as weak as those points might be, they'd be fucking noisy getting through them, knocking them through. There's a rickety structure on the north side, which I could probably climb, but it probably wouldn't last. It's a flip of a coin whether it would come down while I was climbing it. And the west side is the main gate where there's like 40 goblins, more murder holes looking down on it. Probably it's the main entrance where patrols will go in and out of. Whichever way we go, it's not going to be easy, because even getting to that postern gate, you've got to get past those two murder holes. I don't think the goblins aren't watching it all the time, because I could hear them nattering away as I was having a look at the gate. But they have a hell of a field of vision.
How tall is the cliff? How tall is the cliff?
70, 80 feet, and it's sheer. And even then, when you get to the top of the cliff, you've only got a little thin ledge around the base, which I had to work my way around quite slowly. It's a defensible side of a castle, as you'd expect. You know, you always have a sheer cliff on one side of a castle. If not all.
That would seem the most logical way for us to get up. One of us to climb, throw a rope down. That way we could avoid the murder holes and get to the pastoral gate and check it.
Well,
I didn't have the opportunity to see if any of the murder holes on the eastern side facing the cliff, because were actually manned. Because I was, like I say, I was going around a little ledge, and they're obviously much higher. And all you can hear, quite frankly, while you're going around that place, is the fucking chittering of goblins. It's like a hive. So it's hard to tell.
Shepherd, why don't you and I head up the southern face and see if we can take out the archers?
do you think it would work if a drow necromancer turned up at the back door with a prisoner for the king?
I do. Depends if it's manned.
We get in through the door. We kill whatever's behind it.
The thing is, though, as soon as you see you coming, there'll be an alarm raised.
Well, that's the only downside, is whether they would attack us on sight.
Even if they don't attack,
we do have that letter, don't we?
Even if they don't attack us on sight.
They may not attack, but it would raise the alarm, and they would be...
They'll be pointing in our direction then.
Yeah. Did you try the lock, Shepherd?
Not initially, no, because I wanted to see all points of potential ingress.
Understand.
It's pretty beefy, and I've oil it up before I try it. I reckon I could probably unlock it, but I can't be sure whether there's a brace on the other side anyway.
True.
And there's no way of knowing what's behind that door.
How many goblins are there at the main entrance?
40 on the western side. Not particularly well armoured, but there's just a lot of them.
Going in that way would draw a lot of attention.
There are archers on the platforms above it as well. So it's the west side is just, it would just be stupid. 5 against 40 and archers, and then more alarm raised.
Do you think we could pull some of them away? We could give them something to aim at, pull them away from the gate. Maybe they wouldn't all come.
If we were to fight what's left, it would
where's
make a lot of noise.
True.
Where's their water source? Have we got another entrance possibility through a well or a?
That'll be deep in the castle. Be an artesian well that'll go straight down to a bloody underground river or something. That's where you build castles. To build them on water sources.
What about targeting the? Why don't we all try and use our missile weapons against the couple of slits and see if we can take them down from
Phil,
distance?
Would my sleep work at distance like that?
Potentially.
Oh.
It's got a good range on it.
Yeah, I do have a sleep spell. I could.
Could work.
Trying to get them through murder holes will be difficult.
Not impossible.
Not impossible, but improbable. That's why they're designed like they are.
Yeah, your range of your sleep spell's 90 feet. So actually, you've probably got. If you could get up to the top of the slope, you'd be able to easily get them.
I'll relay that.
Worth a try.
And I feel it's a cantrip, isn't it? So I can just keep firing it off, I think.
Sleep isn't. It's a first level spell.
Is it first level? Oh, bugger. Oh, yes, so it is.
But a worthwhile investment.
It is.
You could.
How many can I take out at a time? Because it's a group effect, isn't it?
It's a hit point thing, isn't it? Number of hit points that you do.
Yeah, if it's goblins, you could probably take half a dozen down.
There's only 2 chittering away behind those murder holes. And that room's got to be. It's right near. I'm right in thinking, Phil, that postern gate is actually probably only 20, 30 feet or something to the side of the murder holes of where they would be, once you're right under there.
Yeah. That's why you could actually see, because of the trajectory of it, you could actually see the bow and the hand in the room. Much better sight.
Am I able to tell if my spell's been successful or not? Because the only other thing is whether we know that it's worked or not. How are we going to?
This is where I was going. I could do that because I could be right by the door with invisibility, and if they stop chittering when you cast your spell and they fall asleep, that then gives me the opening to try that lock without them hearing it.
Let's do that.
Because the fuckers didn't shut up. Goblins just don't shut up ever. Grundak when he's hungry.
There's a kind of, as you say that, Grundak's belly begins to rumble. You go,
Case in point.
Right.
Let's do it.
Rest of us wait here. You head up.
We'll wait for your signal.
Well,
Okay.
you won't be able to see me, so that's tricky. It'll have to be Shepherd's signal, I think.
No worries. So the three fighters stay at the bottom of the slope in cover, and you neck your potion. Are you going to use your?
I use mine. The other one that I can use for the day. Yeah.
Okay. You kick off your invisibility, and the pair of you start head up. I would say when you neck the potion, it takes a second. Like whereas when Shepherd casts his spell. Ping, instantly just goes invisible. Yours, you drink it, nothing happens, and slowly you begin to sort of fade from view. like really slow,
A wave.
really slow. Bye, I'm like a ghost, and then
Yeah. I'll be walking off straight away.
okay, you guys head up. Yeah, it doesn't take you too long to get up to the top of the slope.
Start casting straight away.
Okay, you start casting. As soon as Brorna starts casting Shepherd, you can see that she starts to become visible.
Right.
You can see her casting, and she begins to fade back into view. Yeah, that's good enough. Let me just double check their resistance. And yeah, there's 3 thuds from within the room, and a bow slips out of the murder hole, hits the floor. You can hear the faint sound of snoring. Doesn't last long though. It lasts like a handful of turns.
Yeah, well, I was, pretty much getting ready to oil up the lock and pick it. What do I use for lock picking?
Hide back into cover.
For lock
Skill-wise?
picking, skill-wise, let me just double check.
Okay.
I think pickpocket is the skill.
There's no such
I haven't got the sheet in front of me, but have a look. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah. Let's have a look. Sorry, I'm trying to find.
There's no sort of direct thief skill on that skill list.
No.
Surprised at that.
Got to be sleight of hand. Yeah, it's got to be sleight of hand, doesn't it? Surely.
Yeah. If you use sleight of hand, that should be fine.
Okay.
Oh, don't say meh.
That's effectively a roll of 5.
Yeah.
6,
So
yeah.
you're tinkering around with it. The lock is very sturdy. You don't get it on the first attempt. The one thing I would say is there is a bit of movement in the door, so you're not sure that it's braced. So
okay.
silver light.
I need to get in there fast. I've got a point of inspiration I can use up. So I'm going to use that.
Scratch it off and give me another roll.
Scratch it off. Typically, I didn't need it. I didn't even need the plus fucking to the D6.
Okay. Right, yeah.
But it was there as a backup.
Yeah, that first little tinkering, you get a feel for the lock, right? Definitely very sturdy, big key, and the levers are just a little tough. And so when you the first time you did it wasn't the right tool. The second time using a sturdier tool, click, and the door begins to open.
Right. First thing I'll do then is draw an arrow and leap it over as a signal, so they can see an arrow land near where they are.
Lumi, Amar, you both see the arrow and start to make your way up. Grundak will head up as well.
The next thing I'll be doing is heading straight in the direction of where the goblins are to finish them off so they don't wake up. So I'll fire the arrow, and then before a sleep spell wears off, I need to try and find where they are.
Okay, so you're going to step into in through the postern gate door and try and find them outside the castle.
Well,
yep.
Where's the door in relation to the arrow slits? Are the arrow slits there? Is it to the right or the left? So it's to the
left. It must be in the tower next to it on the second floor, not on the ground floor. It's going to be above you in the next tower over.
Right. In which case, then I'll just wait here in the shadows because they're just going to wake up.
Yeah.
As long as we're all in the doorway and out of sight of the arrow slit, doesn't matter. So I'll just keep the door open and keep a beady eye on the corridor or wherever it opens out into until they all stack up.
No worries. So all of you can easily get up the slope, and you're able to step through the door quietly and inside Cragmaw Castle. So you've got
close the door behind me, obviously, softly.
Shut the door. Actually, there's a little latch here, so you could actually leave it so that this way you could return to nice and easily without having to re-lock it or pick the lock or anything. So you leave that, head inside. There are 3 doors. Okay, so there's a short stone corridor, dressed stone, one to the left, one to the right, and one straight in front. But that's all you can see. You can go up and listen to the doors or have a little look around.
Yeah.
Okay. If you head up to the door on the left, you can hear the sound of goblins inside, noisily playing some kind of finger bones or some kind of gambling game as they shout at each other. So there's this kind of constant little churn of noise. If someone listens to the door on the east, door on the right hand side, there is much heavier sound from in there. There's conversation, and you guys caught the bugbears napping, didn't you, when you were in the underground lair beneath Tresenda Manor? These sound like bugbears.
Oh, plural, not good.
The door to the north, which kind of must lead further into the castle, has no sound on the other side of it, but there is the faint smell of cooking. Okay, so I presume I'm making the assumption from now you are being quiet.
Yes.
Even when we speak. There'll be hushed whispers.
Which way? Forward?
It would make sense for him to be in a dungeon.
That's a good line, I think.
Where is that?
Dungeons would be down.
Yeah, it's...
But not necessarily by a kitchen, I wouldn't have thought. One alternative would be to capture one and ask them. And if we were to capture one, a cook might well know where he is and offer lower levels of resistance.
Okay. So, by that rationale, where you go? Goblins to the left, bugbears to the right, or the smell of rancid cooking from straight ahead?
Right ahead.
Okay. What's the kind of party order you're moving in, and who's going to sort of try the door? So let's start thinking a little tactically now about your positioning. So
I'm not at the front or the back.
okay, so Brorna remains in the middle. Okay. Are we putting Lumi, you and Grundak at the front?
Yes. It would make sense for me to go in first, I think.
Okay.
And then that leaves Amarakis and Shepherd at the back.
Okay.
I think Shepherd should be nearer the front in case we encounter doors that we need his assistance with.
Always come up to the front.
Yeah.
Help with the door. Seems like a reasonable. So I'm thinking of the five spot on a dice, right? So 2 at the front, being the tanks, the middle spot with Brorna, 2 rear, your cleric, and yourself, Shepherd. Okay.
Yep.
Right, you head up to the northern door. You can see here there's again some of the stoneworks kind of crumbling and broken. Doorway. If you nudge it open just a little, you can see that as you kind of nudge the door open slightly to take a look through, there's a much larger room. This must have been some kind of big reception chamber at one point. It is currently bustling with a handful of goblins and a another a sort of slightly larger goblin with a chef's hat and a huge machete, and they are preparing some kind of feast. You can see that there is what looks like a female human body that's currently being hacked up and distributed to a number of different pots. But from the sound of it, from the smell, their food is somewhat rancid. But they are busily working away, and any that kind of take a moment to stop what they're doing, they're quickly and fairly brutally admonished by the chef in charge, who comes round and dishes out the flat of the cleaver to them round the back. I have to say, from this location, you can see a set of stairs that at one point would have headed down into some kind of cellar. From here, it looks like that's had a pretty large sort of wall collapse upon it. There is a door heading to the west and one heading to the east at the end of the room. The door to the east is quite a big kind of set of double doors. So you've got laden tables with rancid food, the smell of cooking, and quite a murmur of noise and activity in here. What you doing? Everyone stands there going, oh shit.
Do we kill them? Try and take one?
Yep.
The minute we start fighting here, the entire castle is going to be on us.
Do you want me to fire off another sleep? See how I can get on? It will draw attention.
We've listened to all three.
You've listened to all three. The door to the left, as you went in, was the sound of goblins. The door to the right was the sound of bugbears talking, and the door to the north was the door you've looked through, and that seems to be some sort of large kitchen.
So either we sweep room to room, killing everything we find, or
Shepherd's right. If we start fighting here, we've got 2 rooms of things that are going to come out, pouring out to attack us from behind. That's a bad idea.
there's plenty of noise in the kitchen already.
There's plenty.
Right. Let's just think about this. Right. They've brought this Gundren here with the map. Right. I don't think they're going to put him in a dungeon. He's if they've still got him alive.
They've not eaten him.
Yeah, if he's still alive, I expect him and and why they want this map. I'd expect him to be with whoever's leading this bunch of idiots.
If anybody knows, it's someone in the kitchen. If he's in a dungeon, he gets fed. If he's not in a dungeon, he is somewhere. And fundamentally, he can't eat that filth.
You're thinking, you're not thinking like a orc or a bugbear or a goblin or whoever's leading this bunch of idiots. That's obviously not a goblin. They're not necessarily going to put them in a dungeon like human authorities would. They might, for all we know, they might have him sat at the bottom of his chair with a fucking chain and a collar around his neck because it's good fun, innit?
Grundak will nod. That's probably more likely.
We're not looking for the dungeon. We're looking for the Duke, Baron, King, Chief, whatever leads this bunch of idiots.
Grundak will say, why don't I go in and get one of them? Bring it out here quietly.
If you can, that would be sensible, wouldn't it?
Of course. Wait here. He looks at his huge great axe for a second. And then he kind of looks to you, Shepherd, and he says, hold this.
Gladly.
With that, he'll step up to the door, Right, flexes, moves up actually surprisingly stealthily to the door, nudges it open a little, and you can see him watching, and he watches as the chef moves around, sort of admonishing each one of the diligent workers. There's one of them that's at a table that's not too far from the door, and as soon as the chef goes over to the other side of the room, he slips in, and he's quite quick. And you see him, he takes 3 long strides, nails one of these goblins in the back of the head, whack, grabs it and turns and scampers back towards the door, throwing him kind of in front of you as he steps back in.
Grundak has skills.
And that is how it's done.
There's a kind of goblin, his eyes are still rolling in his head from the punch. It's a bit like, there's a kind of moment where he looks up, sees the glass staff, and then chitters something in goblinoid. Who speaks goblin?
Nobody.
I can actually cast comprehend languages, so I can understand what he's saying. It's a first level spell for
something in
me.
goblinoid. If you want to,
I don't want to rely on Grundak translating into common because he might miss something quite key. So I'll cast comprehend languages.
You cast comprehend languages, no problem. It lasts for quite a while, if I'm right. It's hours.
Hang on, let me have a look. It is comprehend languages 1 hour. Yeah.
Okay. You hear this kind of chittering, sort of kind of quite bird-like language from the goblin, and as you cast and the magic settles on you, you begin to discern the patterns, and then all of a sudden the speech. And he looks up at Brorna. Glassstaff, you've arrived. You're early, way too early. Surely you're not supposed to be here for another week. The Black Spider has already sent his emissary here. That we're cooking dinner.
I kind of.
He'll. There's a kind of moment as he kind of.
Go on, look stern at him.
I will glare at him when he says, "Look stern at him."
Oh, Glassstaff.
He thinks you're Glassstaff.
I'll nod.
He sort of smiles. Good. Looks at the rest of you. Are these your friends? He says with a sort of look of worry, especially at the kind of religious symbols on Lumi and Amar's chest. Interestingly enough, as he kind of asks a question, Grundak grabs him by the neck and sort of lifts him up off the floor and shakes him a little, and then puts him back down and says, "How dare you speak to your elders that way? Get inside." Then he'll turn back and say, "Where do we want to go? To the throne room?"
Yes, we want to go and have our meeting.
He looks down at the guy, squeezing this young goblin's neck, and you see his face start to change from like the light green to dark green as he goes, "Take us to the throne room now."
So while Grundak's shouting at them, I'll be quietly filling everybody in what's just been
going on.
His tongue sort of starts to go a bit purple as he kind of nods and he lets go.
There's a trade-off with the Black Spider. I can comprehend any language if you give me a minute.
That is useful.
Yep.
Just not to know.
Yeah, but then I can't understand you.
The goblin kind of dusts himself off, straightens his apron, and pushes the door open as he steps in. A very angry-looking chef, with his arms folded, is stood there. Begins sort of wailing as he starts to head across with a cleaver. Then Grundak and you guys start to step through the door. There's a kind of moment of like, oh, guests. The goblin says, Glassstaff has arrived.
We'll step aside to let her come through with the staff.
I'll step in like I own the place.
Which is pretty much how you deal with every room that you walk into. You're all my minions.
There's a set of bars from chef to the other shelves to the other cooks to keep on working. Grundak will take his axe back from you, Shepherd, and you kind of flank this little goblin. He'll head towards the chef and says, Sorvide, they want to go into the throne room. The chef shakes his head. No, there are no visitors to be allowed. It's important talks and stuff. No distractions or disturbtions. Yeah. You can't go in, he says.
They'll want to see us.
No.
No.